Hey guys, welcome to another Sam Limon tutorial. This time we're going to be working on our portfolio builders assignment, the CD, DVD label. We could also do a Blu-ray disc as well. On this project, I'm going to be providing you with the files so you could follow along. I'll be posting these up on Schoology. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my folder. This is what you're going to look for. You're going to look for the CD, DVD label folder .zip file. Once you download it, go ahead and unzip it. So let's take a look at what we have here. So I'm going to be providing an InDesign file. We're going to be working off of this one, and we're also going to be working off of a Photoshop file. We're going to have a few links in here. So we're going to have a Blu-ray logo, our Photoshop file, so we're going to be working simultaneously with both InDesign, which is where our work is going to live, and that's where we're going to be making a PDF out of, and that's going to be sent to the printer essentially. And then we have our Photoshop document, which is where we are going to place our art. We also have a CD logo and the DVD logo, so we'll see those once we open up the file. Here is a PDF of the file, and we have the IDML file. So in case you are ever running an older version of InDesign, you should be able to open up the IDML and then go ahead and save that as a new file. So for now, we also have the document fonts, which are the fonts that are in our InDesign file. So let's go ahead and open up this InDesign file first. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to name it. So I'm going to name it file, go to save as, and I'm going to just put an underscore and put your name or the name of your movie or your CD, artwork, whatever you want on this. So I'm just going to put Limon for mine, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. So again, I mentioned this could be from your movie poster assignment. You could bring the artwork in there. Essentially, it'll be like from your movie DVD wrap as well, or this could be for your independent music CD artwork. So all these discs are going to be the same size. You could pick and choose whichever you want to do. You could do both if you want. Okay, so let's take a look at, first of all, pages. We have one page, and our layers, we have our document info. So if I turn that off and on, this is the document info right here, our template. You could see what turns off and on. So that's all of our crop marks, our registration marks, where everything lines up. Then we have template notes. So these are all the notes, and I'll go through those in a bit. We have our logos. So that's these right here. We have our legal line, which is this line right here. And we have our artwork. So that's going to be pretty much all of this. So first of all, our document info, and I'm going to base this off of the template notes as well, so we could go along with what each one of these things is. So the title, we're just going to put the title of our movie or of our CD artwork or whatever band you chose, whatever movie you did. Go ahead and put that. A part number, usually this is given to you by whoever you're working with. Whatever agency, distributor, producers, things like that. For our purposes, we're just going to go ahead and make up a number, or we're going to make up several different ones, because I'm going to have you do several different versions of these labels. And then for color, we're going to do either CMYK or Pantone color. So I just left it at PMS, and then there should be a number here. C is for coded, so we'll go in Photoshop and change that out. And then we're going to choose the disc type, so CD, DVD, Blu-ray disc, label. So all the information is here, and then that's going to match whatever you choose here. The logo should match down here, so that ties into this. CD, DVD, or Blu-ray logo could be black or white, depending on your background, and it should match the disc type above. So right here. Obviously, if you make a CD, put the CD logo. If you make a Blu-ray disc, put the Blu-ray logo, and so on and so forth. Our template, pretty self-explanatory. Our template notes, that's this whole layer with the notes, which we started off with. So then we have our title should fit within this area. So that's just the guide there. So they have certain parameters that you must follow. A part number, again, this part number should match, it should reflect this part number here. So this is all information for the printer. Then we have our logo again. It should match what we call out over here. And then any secondary logos. If you want to put any secondary logos, you could find these online, you know, for movies, for example. If you want to do like a New Line logo or Paramount or Warner Brothers or whatever logos, you could put them here. Any like music, you know, Aftermath Records or whatever it may be, you could set that there. And going back to our legal line as the part number, I also set up where it says Art and Design, copyrighted by NVOC Graphic Design Incorporated. Make sure you put the correct year and go ahead and change, if you want to, go ahead and change this to, you know, make up a company, all rights reserved, and then the manufacturer and distributed by, I put LAUSD Entertainment, Mission Hills. You could go ahead and change that, you know, make up a company as well. So that's pretty much this file. Now the main one that links to this, if I go into our links, I have several of them here. So we have a Blu-ray logo, which is right here. They're all just stacked on top of each other, so I could turn them off and on. I have my Photoshop document, which is named CD Label 1. I have my CD logo here and my DVD logo here. Let's go ahead and take a look at those logos. So I'm just going to unlock this, open it, and I'll turn 2 off. So you see I have my DVD. If you see this image doesn't look so sharp, I could always go to View, Display Performance, and we could do High Quality Display, and that will show us how it would look in print. Just keep in mind, if you do this, it's going to take a little bit more memory, so it's going to take a while to generate all these images and things like that. So if your computer ever gets slow, you could take it down a notch. Not that your computer, the program in Design, you could go to View, Display Performance, and take it down to typical or fast. Just know that just because it looks bad here, that does not mean that it's going to look bad in print. So we have our Blu-ray logo as well, and our compact disc logo. So I'm just going to leave them all on for now. Go ahead and lock it. And then the file that is linked to this is the CD DVD label 1. So I'm going to go back to my folder, and I'm going to go into my links, and I could find that link. So this is CD DVD label 1. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. Now within here, let's go ahead and take a look at our layers. So here are my layers. I'm going to turn on this template guides. Again, it has where our title should go, our outside and inside safety. So these are all just shapes in here. And then our logos, and then our CD, DVD, Blu-ray logo. So at the end, it says off right here. At the end, once you save it, turn it off. And then I have this rectangle with a circle cut out. So that's going to be our artwork that is going to show. And then just the background fill, so we don't have any transparencies. So anything that we build, we should put below this rectangle logo. Rectangle layer, and above this one, or we could just completely get rid of this one if we have a full-on background. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna keep this file as number 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up either my music CD artwork, my independent one, or my movie poster. If you did the movie poster, maybe you could even pull stuff off of your DVD wrap. So actually, let me open up my Photoshop file for my DVD wrap. And keep in mind, you're going to build artwork for the label, so it should tie into your DVD wrap or your DVD poster. Or if you're doing your movie, your CD artwork, then it should tie to that as well. So you could recreate a small scene. So I would go outside and start looking for images. So it's going to be just, you know, an expansion of these projects. But just to make it quick, I'm gonna, you know, pull a few things from here. So one thing that I noticed, I have the space for if I go back to my Photoshop file, I have my title area here. So let's go ahead and drop in our title. I know that I have a smart object title actually in the spine. So I could always drag that in and bring it in here. And then I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to go ahead and center it here. And I'm going to hold Alt. Originally I did Command T to enter free transform mode, and I'm going to bring it up. Maybe not all the way, that's going to be huge here. So maybe something like that. And I'm going to turn on my guides. If you don't remember, it's Command or Control and semicolon. So now I could just make sure I center it correctly. And sometimes you could fudge it a little. I see like a lot more space on the left over here, so I'm going to nudge it ever so slightly to the left. So that's a good spot for it. Now let me go ahead and build up this background. So I really like this plane, so I'm going to go to that layer of it. Let's see, where is it? It's going to be in our back folder in here. So again, if you want to go ahead and go online, look for images off of Unsplash or Pexels.com, or just Google Images, or you could pull some from the artwork you've already made. So just to make it easy on myself, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And remember, we have to keep these underneath that rectangle. And maybe I want to place my plane here. I want to remember that this is a hole in the DVD or in the disc. So you don't want to put, for example, somebody's face in here. You don't want to cut them out. So let's go ahead and do Command T. I'm going to make this plane a little bit bigger. And I like it centered here. I think that looks pretty cool. Now, I am going to blend the bottom over here because I'm going to use that same mask that I have, because I have that hard edge, so I got to do something with that. So let me get my brush, make sure I have black, and make sure my opacity is at 100. Make this a little bit smaller. I'm just going to brush this hard line away. And I'll see what I do in a bit. I'm going to bring in maybe, like I said, go online, find other images, but I'm going to go ahead and bring this background. So go ahead and bring this one in. Put this layer below this one. And that looks pretty cool, at least that top part. And I think now what I want to do is go ahead and paint in a little bit of the bottom here. So I'm going to add a new layer between these two, and I'm going to just name this paint or paint bottom. And then I'm going to get a brush tool, and I'm going to hold Option and sample one of these darker colors. Make my brush a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to paint this bottom area. I see a little bit of, something right here. I'm going to sample a bit of a darker color just to make the blend a little smoother. And I'm going to paint the bottom. And there you go. That looks pretty complete. Now, one thing I noticed here, the title's a little hard to read, so I'm going to go into my layer here, and then my title layer. And I'm going to double click on the right over here, and I'm going to do a color overlay. Black looks pretty good. White might stand out. Yeah, white stands out, so we could do white. You could do black. You could do a different color. For the most part, you try to keep it, so that it matches the title in the actual poster or something. But for our purposes, we could change it, just make it more legible. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And so it has that color overlay. So now what I want to do is I want to turn off our template guides, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now I'm going to go over to my InDesign file. Let me zoom out a bit. Now if I go to my links panel, since that CD DVD label 1 is linked to this, it's going to give me a little warning that it's been changed, it's been modified. So if I double click on this warning, it's going to update the label. So now that looks pretty good. Let's say I'm happy with that. Just keep in mind like everything that we have here. So based off of our notes and our layers, so the template notes, I'm going to go ahead and unlock actually document info first. We'll start from the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on my type tool, and then under title I'm gonna put in my title. So I'm gonna put in the title here, and then my part number, I'm just gonna go ahead and make something up. So I'm gonna do, there's 6 other characters there, so I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 just to make this one easy. Now you remember, if I have my part number here, I have to match it down here. So this is a good time to go into our legal line. Let me unlock that one. I'm gonna zoom in, put my cursor in here, and the same, that has to match, so we could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then click on my selection tool to escape the type tool. Now let's go back up here and we'll get back to that later. Color, it's gonna be CMYK. So again, put our type tool, click on our type tool, click in here, and delete everything except for CMYK. Now for this one, it's obviously not a music CD, so it's gonna be a movie. So it could be DVD or Blu-ray disc. So for this one, let's go ahead and do Blu-ray disc. So let's highlight that DVD. So there we go, BD label. Okay, so now that means that we have to go into our logos, and that has to match. So we're gonna pull up our let's go ahead and open up our logos layer, unlock it, turn off the CD, turn off the actually leaving the Blu-ray on, turn off the DVD. So there we go. Now we have our Blu-ray disc logo, and let's go ahead and lock this and close it. Our title fits within the area. These are all the things that we have to check on our end. Our part number looks good. This looks good. Any secondary logos, we're not putting any on this one. We are, however, going back into our legal line, so it is unlocked. So again, feel free to change this right here. So I'm going to change at least a year for now. 2022. That's going to be the copyright date. And like I said, you could change this part, and you could change this part as well. Pretty much the 2 companies, or make-believe companies that I set up there. And that would be good enough for our first one. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and go ahead and go into a Photoshop file and go ahead and save this one as well. Again, we had saved it before, but it doesn't hurt to resave. Now let me go ahead and close this one. And I'm not going to save it. Okay, so now what we could do is go back to our InDesign file, and let's make a complete copy of this. However, this time we're going to do let's do a CD. So we're going to go to our pages panel, and we're just going to drag this first page onto the new page icon here. Let it go. Make sure my hand changes when I'm right over here. And now I'm going to double click on page 2. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And since this one's going to be a CD, let's go ahead and take care of that for now. Let's go ahead and click on our type tool. We're just going to put CD label. And on this one, let's change our Blu-ray disc logo to a CD logo. So let's go to our layers. We're going to unlock logos, open it up, turn on our CD logo white, turn that on, turn off the Blu-ray disc. Go ahead and close it and lock that. And now what we're going to do is we need to create a second Photoshop file that links to this one. So the way to do that, the quick way, there's 2 ways. We could go into our Finder, and we could go into our CD DVD label folder, and we could go into our links, and we could literally copy this one. So I'll do it this way first. So I'm gonna right click and then put copy on our CD label 1, and then right click and paste. So this just made a copy, and I'm gonna rename this one 2, since it is my second page. You could rename this, something else. It could be a second version of your movie. So you could do 2. The requirement is going to be 3 different labels, pretty much, or discs. So it could be you could be your movie poster. It could be for your movie poster, and it could be for your CD, your independent CD artwork. It could be two different ones for your movie, two different ones for your CD artwork, and then a third one. Again, it could be a third one for each. So it's up to you how you do this. And the third one is going to be a solid color, so it'll be a Pantone one. And then you choose what you want to do it on. Okay, so now that we have our second one here, let's go ahead and open this one. Right now they're identical because it is literally just a copy. Okay, so now on this one, what I'm gonna do is this one's gonna be my music CD. So I'm gonna go into my Finder, and I'm gonna open up that file to my independent CD artwork, and look for my Photoshop document for that file. So I'm gonna just go ahead and bring in my title that I do want, and drag that around. At this point, I could go ahead and delete all of these, make sure I'm on my CD label too. So I'm going to go ahead and delete all these files because that no longer applies, and turn my template on again. Now I have to resize the Elvis type, so I'm going to center it here, and then if I just do Command T to enter free transform mode, and if I click Option or Alt, then I could shrink it proportionally to the middle, and then I could just drag it up, make sure I'm centered, and using my arrow keys on my keyboard to move it up and down, and hit return when I'm happy. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring in a background, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in maybe Las Vegas here. Again, take time to build it out a little bit. I'm just doing it real quick. You should already know how to do a composition. I'm going to drag Vegas under here, and I'm going to set it up something like this. I want the Eiffel Tower to show. I want to be mindful. I don't want to go too low and have something like this. I want to take my artwork all the way to the end. Okay, so now, like I said, build this out. I'm just doing it quick. Turn off my guides, and then I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to go over to InDesign, and if I look at my links, this is not going to give me a warning because I technically only made a copy of the second page. So if I look at my CD DVD label 1, there's two instances of it because it's on 2 pages. So if I open that, it's on page 1 and on page 2. So on page 2, this is going to be our CD, so that's not what we want. We want to change that one to the Elvis CD. So I'm going to click on it, make sure it says page 2 over here. I could tell because it has that page icon here. And then I'm going to hit relink. So this little link button, relink, and then I'm going to find the proper one. So it's going to be label 2, and I'm going to go ahead and open it. So now, again, just to double check, our title's within that area. This one technically is going to be a different number because we carried over the number from this one, so it's going to be different. So what I'm going to do is just go in, for our purposes, I'm just going to change with my type tool, I'm just going to change the 6 to a 7, and that will suffice, which means I have to go ahead and change it down here too. I'm going to zoom in, click on my type tool, and highlight that 6 and turn it into a 7. But one thing that you notice, this is very hard to read because of this artwork. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush a little bit of color here to darken this area up, just so that we could read the part number here, because else that would be sent back to us, and that would be a major complaint. So let's go ahead and go into our Photoshop file. We kind of see the area that needs it, so it is just above this tree line and within this bigger ring of water at the Bellagio, I believe. So let's go to Photoshop. So here we see our problem area that we need to darken. So I'm going to add a layer over this Vegas background layer. Just add a random layer. I'm going to go ahead and rename it because we like to rename our files. And I'm going to name this darkening for legal. And I'm gonna get a brush. Maybe make my brush size a little bit smaller. I'm gonna bring my opacity down to maybe about 5, anywhere between 5 and 10%. And I'm gonna hold Alt or Option. I'm gonna sample one of these darker colors, so one of these like darker purples. And I'm just gonna brush in this area, just a little, couple swipes, click and drag. I could turn this off and on to see what I did. So that darkened it just a little bit. So now I'm gonna save it, Command or Control S, go back into InDesign. Now I have my warning here because now that's linked. Our second label is linked to our second page. So I'm gonna double click that. And there you go, it darkened it enough so that we could read that, so now we are good. And again, I'm not adding any logos to this one, but you could. So you could find some and add them. And so, like I said, build these out, you know, don't be sloppy, don't do what I did. I just put something together real quick. So take your time, make these nice. The last one that I want you to do is we're going to do a PMS logo or a Pantone logo. Sorry, a Pantone label. So to do that, let's go ahead and go into our pages, and let's go ahead and make another page. So I'm going to drag our second one into the making a new page icon here in our pages panel. And for this one, actually, let's go ahead and just so we change it up, we're gonna do a DVD because I believe, let's see, page 1 is a Blu-ray disc. This one's a CD. So let's go ahead and on this one, on the third one, let's go ahead and make this one a DVD. So, oh, you know, one thing we forgot to do is on, I just saw it right now, our title says this. So we need to go back up to page 2. Go in there and we're going to change our title. So in our layers, this was still unlocked. Click on my type tool and change this to Elvis. There we go. So that one's good. Now let's go to our third page. And let's see, since we're going to do a DVD, let's go ahead and take care of that now. Go into our layers panel, document info, and we're going to change, our part number is going to change. So just to change it a little bit more drastically, click on our type tool, and I'm going to add, instead of 57 right here, it's going to be 63, the last two numbers. Our color is going to be, we'll figure it out, but for now just put PMS, and we'll leave it blank. And then this one's going to be a DVD label. So with that, just remember 63 and DVD label. So we're going to go into our part number, make sure our legal line is unlocked, which it is, type tool, I'll highlight the last two numbers, 63, and then our logo should change to our DVD logo, and turn off the CD logo. You can lock it, there we go. So now we are good. Let's lock that one. And the other way that we could save this, because remember we're going to have to make a third one, a third Photoshop document for this one. So we're going to go to Finder. Let's go ahead and go into our DVD label folder, links. This time, instead of making a copy from here, we're just going to go into our Photoshop file that we might have. Let's close this one. And I'm gonna, from here, I'm gonna make sure this one's saved. So label 2 is saved. And then I'm gonna name this one file. I'm gonna do a save as. And from here, I'm gonna save my third one. So label 3. And make sure it goes in the right place. Go ahead and save it. And I'm gonna go to InDesign. And let's go ahead and relink it. So let's go ahead and go to our, since it's still a copy of the second one, on page 3, I'm going to go ahead and click on that, on this one, make sure it has a 3. Go ahead and relink it, and relink it to our third one. Okay, let's go back to our Photoshop file. Now that we have it linked, first step we want to do is we want to make this duotone. So we're going to go ahead and go to Edit, or sorry, go to Image, Mode, and then click on grayscale first. It's going to tell you that it's going to merge all the layers. Go ahead and merge them and click OK. So it merged all of them. Now we have is one layer. So this is pretty much going to be trash. Bring in any artwork you could bring in any artwork you want, but for now, actually, what I'm going to do is go to Image, Mode, and then actually click on Duotone. And I'm going to go ahead and choose a color. So I'm going to click on this icon here, make sure preset says custom, type says monotone. Click on whatever color you have here. It might be black, might be white, might be, you know, any random color. I'm going to click on here, and I could choose any color here. So try to get one that's going to resemble your artwork or something. So right now I'm thinking I'm going to go back to my movie, which was very warm in color. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to make it this color. You could also choose up here our Pantone colors. Make sure you go to Pantone plus CMYK coded or uncoded. You could try any of these, but I'm just going to stick with coded. So if you do, go ahead and mess around with them. Just remember the color that you chose. Go ahead and click away. So it was this one. So I'm going to actually highlight it for now, just so I have it in my clipboard. So highlight this, Command C, click OK. So now we have a single colored document. One thing that I noticed is, since this is all flattened, I want to bring in all those layers. So I could go back to this one. I want to bring my template, my rectangle, background, all this stuff. So I'm going to hold Shift, click on the first layer, hold Shift, click on the last one, bring these into this layer, into this document, hold Shift. That way it keeps it centered. Let go of my mouse, and then I could let go of Shift. And I could go ahead and delete this Elvis layer, which was all merged when I did the changing of the color to that Pantone color. So I'm going to stick with this. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background. So let's go ahead and I'm going to open up either my DVD, whichever file you're working on. On this one's going to be my either movie poster or DVD wrap. So let me go ahead and open up my movie poster just to pull some elements from here as well. So remember, you're going to do several different variations, so bring in different things. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in maybe these two guys right here. So I gotta find them first. So here they are. I'm going to bring them in. And now I'm thinking only one of these guys would be pretty cool. So I could have him coming in here. Be mindful of your crops. So, whoops. I'm going to turn this on. Turn on my templates, and then I'm going to bring him in ever so slightly. So I'm going to say that looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to bring in this guy. So where's he? So I'm going to do that, and then maybe I want to bring in some sky or something. So let's see, what do we have? We have the sky with clouds. So you could pull from, you know, your files. I'm going to bring this one all the way down. I'm going to say that looks pretty cool. So you could pull in from your files so it matches from your layers here. Or you could pull in from, you know, go to Google, go to Unsplash, go to Pexels, and I'm going to call that good. So I'm going to close this one, and then I'll go ahead and close or turn off the template guides. Go ahead and save this one, and go to InDesign, and let me go ahead and refresh this one. So it's a DVD PMS. Remember how I had said we were going to copy our numbers for that? So I'm going to highlight this and then do Command V to paste what we had. So we could do that Pantone P4514C. DVD label, we're good. The title's good. And we're going to do another part number on here. Actually, we had just done that, so never mind. And then one thing that I notice is this whole bottom area is a little light. So let's go ahead and make that a little bit darker so that we could read this as well. So let's go back to our Photoshop file. Again, I'm going to make a new layer right above this sky. And name this darken for legal. So for our legal words. And then I'm going to get a brush. And this time I'm just going to choose black. Any color that goes on here, it's going to paint it. It pretty much has that that Pantone color, so it doesn't matter what color I paint it with. And let me up my opacity a little bit, maybe somewhere around 20-ish. And now I could paint down here. So now I could turn this off and on so I could see that change. Let me go ahead and save it. Go back to InDesign. And let's go ahead and update this. So that made this whole bottom part a little darker. Now we can read it. That's looking pretty good. On this one, let's go ahead and bring in some secondary logos. So ideally, we would have the logos here. So you could do a Google search and then place them here within our logos layer. Or if you want to bring them in and put them in Photoshop, you could do that as well. But again, ideally they would be here. So let's go ahead and open up our web browser to look for some logos. So Chrome, and let's go ahead and look for movie company logo. So, you know, here's a lot of them. We could do a Universal one, DreamWorks, Paramount, any of these things. Legendary. Let's look for the Legendary logo. And let's look for a vector. See if we get lucky, we could find a vector one. See this one. See if we could hopefully pull this, download it. See if this works. Maybe not. Well, there it goes. Legendary vector. So let's open up our downloads. And let's see, legendary logo. And there we have it. It's an SVG format, so we should be able to edit that. Now I'm going to drag this one into my CD DVD label folder, just so we have everything in the same place. We don't want to be moving these files around. Let's go ahead and go to our links, and let's drag this legendary logo into there. Close this one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open this one with, see if we could open up with Illustrator. Oh, it might take a bit, and then hopefully we could change it to white there, and then we could save it as a EPS file. If not, then that's where we're gonna have to put it in Photoshop. And typically you don't do that. Typically the companies are gonna provide you with these logos, but you know, we'll just fake it on there for our purposes. So let's see if it even opens here. And perfect, it's a vector. So I could just change this to white. Because our DVD logo is white, click OK, and then I'm going to go ahead and save this one. File save as. In our links, and I'm going to make sure I save it as either an Illustrator file .ai or an EPS file. Either one. And I'm just going to name it legendary logo white. And go ahead and save it. And click OK. Perfect. Now we can close it. Now let's go into InDesign and let's go make sure we're in our logos layer, unlock that one. Let's go ahead and unlock legal line, lock this one. So we're going to go to File, Place. File, Place, and then let's look for our legendary logo white, the AI one that we just made. click open, and then just click and drag, and we set it here. So make sure it's within these guides. Okay, so what I would do is just center it. So I'm going to bring in a secondary logo, but then I'll show you how to bring it into Photoshop. Let's say we cannot find the vector one that we could quickly edit like that. So let's go here to our web browser. Let's go back and let's see what else we have. Let's find the DreamWorks logo. And let's see. Click on this one. Try to find a good solid one that we could mask out. So let's go ahead and take this one. This one's a JPEG, so what I'm going to do is drag this one out, and we're totally going to fake this one. So again, this would typically be provided. Let's go ahead and close this, and let's go ahead and bring this into Photoshop. So I could drag this into Photoshop, or I could do a file open. Let's see, cannot complete because Photoshop does not recognize the file type. Okay, that's because it is a WebP file. So let me go to cloudconvert.com, and we're going to turn it into a JPEG first. So let's go to cloudconvert.com, select file. It is in my desktop, and I'm going to look for DreamWorks. Don't mind my mess. Go ahead and click open, and we are going to convert it to a JPEG, and go ahead and click on convert. So once we have it, go ahead and download it. We could throw this WebP one into the trash, and let's go ahead and close this. Now that it's downloaded, let's go into our downloads, and let's open this JPEG now with Photoshop. And what I'm going to do is since I'm lucky enough that it's blue and white, I could just click on my magic wand tool. I'm going to select the blue and then just click delete. Let me see. Before I do that, let's cancel it. Let's go ahead and unlock it because it's our single layer. And now let me deselect that. Make sure, go ahead and click on my magic wand tool. Now select the blue and hit delete. So now it deleted the blue, and now we could go to select, deselect, or Command or Control D. And I'm going to take this layer and rename it to DreamWorks, and I'm going to drag this one into our third label, so label 3. And let's go ahead and turn on our guides. And let's go ahead and bring this one down there. And I'm going to do Command T, resize this, maybe a little bit bigger. So I can barely see my guides, but they are there. Now, typically I would say place it in the middle. However, we know that we have, if we go to our InDesign file, we have this legendary logo. So what we're going to have to do is now move our legendary logo to the left and move our DreamWorks logo to the right. So let's bring it to the right a little bit, give it a little spacing, hit return, let's have it there, turn off the template guides, and then let's save this, and let's go back to our InDesign file, go into our links, and let's relink this one. So now I have our DreamWorks there. And one thing we want to do is we want to make sure we're on the same baseline. So see how legendary sticks out past the baseline of this. So I'm going to go ahead and make this smaller. So I'm going to do hold shift and command. On InDesign we have to hold shift and command to make this smaller. So now it's all on the same baseline here, and I could drag this to the left, give it a little space, and you try to center it, you know, even though this one's a little less wide than the legendary logo. I'm going to say that looks pretty good. So we have them both about equal distance from the center, roughly. our baselines are the same, and we are good with that one. So once we're done, we make sure we followed everything. Everything looks good. So we have a couple different versions of our CMYK ones, and then we have our Pantone color one. And let's go ahead and save it. We could go into our layers panel and then go ahead and turn off the template notes. Save it again, and then let's build a PDF. So this is what you're going to turn in. So do Command E or go to File, Export. And what you're going to do is you're going to make a PDF, a print PDF. Go ahead and hit save. Make sure your name was on it, which it should have been because we renamed this. And go ahead and look through it. You want to make sure your Adobe preset is high quality print. All pages here. Make sure it's pages, not spreads. You could turn this on, review or view PDF after exporting. That means the PDF is going to show right up after you export this. If you don't have it on, it's just going to save it. It's not going to show up. Compression, don't change any of that. Marks and bleeds, you want to make sure none of these are checked. Bleed and slug, nothing is checked. And pretty much all these others, don't do anything. Just go ahead and export. And there is our PDF. So it's a multi-page PDF, so you can see our 3 pages with our 3 different artworks. And that will be our first project. So, and then keep in mind, we did create these 3 different Photoshop documents. So if we go into our links, we should have a different version for each, right? And then the preview for this just shows as black and white because this doesn't support that Photoshop color. That's only shown through our Adobe programs. So at the end, just go ahead and turn in this DVD label PDF with your name on it. And that will be it. If you have any questions, if you want me to help you out, set this up, feel free to reach out. But here's a quick little tutorial, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.